The 1991 US penny may seem like an ordinary coin to most people, casually tossed around in change or left to gather dust in drawers. But for those who know what to look for, this seemingly unremarkable penny could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars, sometimes much more. It all comes down to the errors, the nuances in its minting process, and the hidden value that these errors can add. Today, we're diving deep into the 1991 US penny, uncovering its potential to bring collectors untold riches. The story of the 1991 penny begins with its specifications. The penny, also known as the 1-cent coin, is made primarily of copper-plated zinc, 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, to be exact. It weighs in at a mere 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. Despite these modest dimensions, the penny's value goes far beyond what meets the eye. Its design, though familiar, holds a wealth of secrets, especially when the minting process doesn't go according to plan. These imperfections can lead to what we call error coins, and the 1991 penny is no exception. Before we get into the specific errors, let's take a closer look at the basic design of the coin. On the obverse, we have the well-known portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Below his image, you'll find the inscription "In God We Trust," with the year of minting placed just under it. The reverse, on the other hand, depicts the Lincoln Memorial, with "E pluribus unum" above it and 1 cent at the bottom. While these details seem routine, the slightest imperfection in this design can increase the coin's value exponentially. But what exactly makes a 1991 penny worth anything more than its face value? It all comes down to one key thing: errors. These are the mistakes that occur during the minting process, sometimes in the form of misstrikes, doubled images, off-center punches, or other anomalies. These errors are rare, which makes them highly sought after by collectors. In fact, the rarer the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. But before you start going through your change, let's break down some of the most common and valuable errors that can occur on a 1991 penny. One of the most sought-after types of errors is the double die error. This occurs when a coin is struck more than once by the same die, resulting in a doubled image. In the case of the 1991 penny, this can create a distinct doubling effect on the inscription "Liberty, in God We Trust," or even on Abraham Lincoln's portrait. These double die coins are not easy to find, and they can fetch impressive prices. Some collectors have reported finding double die pennies worth several $1,000s at auction, depending on their condition. So, how do you identify a double die error on a 1991 penny? The key is to look closely at the text and the image of Lincoln. If you spot any ghosting or a double outline, especially around the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," you could have a winner. The more distinct the doubling, the more valuable the coin. If you're unsure, using a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe can help reveal these subtle details. Another common error is the off-center strike. When a penny is not aligned properly with the dies during the minting process, it can result in an off-center strike. This means the design is not fully stamped on the coin, often leaving a portion of the blank metal around the edge of the coin. In some cases, the design may be shifted so much that it appears to be missing entirely from one side of the coin. These off-center pennies are highly collectible, with some fetching thousands of dollars. To identify an off-center strike, check the edge of the coin. If you see a significant gap between the design and the edge, meaning part of the coin's design has been missed or is incomplete, you could be holding onto something valuable. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin typically is. Some off-center 1991 pennies have been found to be worth over $10,000, depending on their severity and condition. Now, let's move on to a more unusual, but still incredibly valuable error: the clipped planchet. This occurs when a piece of the blank metal, known as a planchet, is cut off during the minting process. As a result, the penny may have a curved or jagged edge that disrupts the design. A clipped planchet is one of the rarer types of errors, and it can be highly sought after by collectors. If you come across a 1991 penny with a clipped edge, you may want to hold on to it. Identifying a clipped planchet is relatively easy if you know what to look for. Inspect the edge of the coin carefully. A clipped planchet will have an irregular, curved shape, often with no design along a portion of the coin's rim. The size and severity of the clip will impact the value, but even a small clip can significantly increase the coin's worth. Perhaps the most exciting and most valuable error to look out for is the off-metal error, where the penny is mistakenly struck on a foreign planchet, such as a planchet mint for a different denomination. These errors are incredibly rare, and when they do occur, they often result in a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. Imagine holding a penny that was mistakenly struck on a dime planchet. The result would be a coin that is slightly smaller, but with all the design details of a regular penny. This kind of error is not something you'll come across often, but if you happen to find one, it could be worth a small fortune. Now that we've covered some of the more common errors, let's dive into some real-life stories of collectors who've struck it rich with their 1991 penny discoveries. One such story involves a man named John, who was sorting through a jar of old pennies he'd collected over the years. He came across a 1991 penny that didn't look quite right. At first glance, it appeared to have a slight doubling of the word liberty on the obverse. After further inspection, he realized it was a double die error, a rare one at that. He decided to have it professionally graded, and after it came back with a grade of MS-64, it sold for over $6,000 at auction. Another collector, Lisa, was at a coin show when she spotted a 1991 penny in a dealer's display case. The penny appeared to have an off-center strike. About 25% of the design was missing. Lisa, knowing how valuable off-center strikes can be, purchased the coin for a mere $50. When she had it appraised, she learned that it was worth upwards of $5,000. This kind of luck isn't guaranteed, but it serves as a reminder that hidden treasures can be found in the most unexpected places. These stories are not unique. There are numerous examples of 1991 pennies being found with rare errors, and in many cases, these coins have sold for significant sums. The key is knowing what to look for and how to identify these errors before they slip through your fingers. If you're new to coin collecting or just starting to hunt for error coins, there are a few things you should keep in mind. First, always check the condition of the coin. A well-preserved penny with a rare error will generally be worth more than one that's heavily worn. Second, don't just look at the face of the coin. The reverse, or back, can hold just as many valuable errors. Lastly, be patient. Rare error coins don't pop up every day, but with a trained eye, you can start to spot them more easily. As we wrap up our journey through the world of 1991 pennies and their valuable errors, it's important to remember that the hunt for rare coins is just as much about learning as it is about profit. Whether you're just starting out or are a seasoned collector, the thrill of discovering a rare penny with an error is something that never gets old. The 1991 penny, with its numerous potential errors, remains one of the most exciting coins to look for in the world of numismatics. So, next time you're digging through your spare change or flipping through a coin roll, take a second look at those 1991 pennies. You might just be holding on to a small fortune. The 2000 US penny, an unassuming coin that you might toss into your pocket or jar without a second thought. But what if I told you that this simple 1-cent coin could potentially be worth hundreds of thousands, or even millions, depending on certain rare characteristics it may carry? Yes, it's true. While most 2000 pennies are worth exactly 1 cent, there's a small group of them that are highly coveted by collectors for their unique errors, making them extraordinarily valuable. You might be holding on to one of these rare coins right now without even knowing it. So how can you tell? And what makes these pennies so special? Let's dive in and unravel the mystery behind the 2000 US penny and its hidden treasures. To understand why a 2000 penny can be worth so much, it's important to first understand the basics. What makes a penny valuable in the first place? The value of a coin isn't just determined by its face value. In fact, the real value comes from things like rarity, condition, and sometimes even the mistakes made during its minting process. And when it comes to error coins, coins that were struck incorrectly during the production process, the value can skyrocket. The 2000 US penny, like all coins, was minted at the US Mint, which is responsible for producing the nation's currency. It features the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on the front, with the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It seems like a simple coin, right? But some 2000 pennies bear errors, mistakes made during the minting process, that can make them far more valuable than you might imagine. One of the most common and most sought-after errors on the 2000 penny is known as the wide AM versus close AM variety. You might be wondering, what does wide AM and close AM mean? Let me explain. When coins are minted, they go through a process where the design is transferred onto the blank coin, called a planchet. In the case of the penny, the word America appears on the reverse side, just below the Lincoln Memorial. In most cases, the A and M in America are spaced fairly close together. However, in a few 2000 pennies, the A and M are noticeably farther apart. This variation in spacing is the wide AM error, and it's incredibly rare. Most of the 2000 pennies were minted with the close AM design, where the A and M touch each other. But there were a limited number of coins where the spacing was wider than usual, creating a significant distinction. Coin collectors and error enthusiasts are always on the lookout for this subtle but valuable detail, and a penny with the wide AM error can fetch thousands of dollars in auctions. The rarity of these coins is what drives their high value. A coin that's been improperly struck or has an irregularity is considered much more desirable than a perfectly minted one. To spot the difference between the wide AM and close AM, you don't need a magnifying glass, but it certainly helps. All you need to do is focus on the reverse side of the coin, specifically on the word America. If you look closely, the A and M in America will be either very close to each other or noticeably far apart. If the letters are spaced more widely than usual, you've found the rare wide AM variety. In some cases, collectors have found this error in their change or in rolls of pennies they've purchased, completely unaware of the coin's potential value. Let's take a moment to think about how this error can have such a massive impact on the coin's worth. If you were lucky enough to stumble upon a 2000 wide AM penny, it could be worth anywhere between $10,000 and $100,000, or even more in some rare cases. That's a significant jump from its original face value of just 1 cent. You could be holding a small fortune in your hand and not even realize it. But the wide AM error isn't the only one that could make your 2000 penny more valuable. Another significant error that collectors are on the lookout for is the off-center strike. So what exactly does that mean? An off-center strike occurs when the coin is struck off-center on the die, meaning the design is not aligned properly with the planchet. The result is a coin that looks unusual, with part of the design missing or overlapping the edge of the coin. For the 2000 penny, this means that parts of Abraham Lincoln's portrait, the Lincoln Memorial, or even the date itself might be cut off, creating a distinctive and valuable error. To identify an off-center strike on your 2000 penny, look closely at the edge of the coin. If the design appears to be misaligned, with a portion of the image or lettering cut off, you've likely found an off-center error. While off-center strikes are not as rare as some other types of errors, they are still highly collectible. The value of an off-center 2000 penny can vary depending on how much of the design is missing and how severe the misalignment is, but these coins can easily fetch a few $100s to a few $1,000s at auction. Another valuable error to keep an eye out for is the broad-struck penny. A broad-struck coin occurs when the planchet is struck outside the collar, which holds the planchet in place during the minting process. This results in the coin expanding outward and becoming much larger than usual, creating a coin that is visibly wider than a normal penny. The 2000 penny with a broad-struck error will appear distorted and stretched, with a wide border around the design. To spot a broad-struck error, check for a noticeable difference in the coin size. The broad-struck penny will have a much larger diameter and may appear flattened or stretched compared to a normal 2000 penny. These coins are particularly fascinating for collectors because they are so unusual, and the value can range from a few $100s to over $1,000, depending on the severity of the error. Another common error found in the 2000 penny is the die crack. A die crack occurs when a crack forms in the die used to strike the coin. This crack can transfer to the coin, creating visible lines or breaks in the design. On the 2000 penny, this could mean a visible crack running through the Lincoln Memorial or even Lincoln's portrait on the obverse. While die cracks are relatively common, a 2000 penny with a large, visible crack can be very desirable to collectors, especially if it's located in an interesting part of the design. Depending on the severity of the crack, a die-cracked 2000 penny can sell for anywhere from $50 to $500 or more. Now that we've covered some of the most common errors found on the 2000 penny, it's time to talk about how you can assess the value of your penny. The condition of the coin is one of the most important factors when determining its worth. The value of an error coin can be dramatically influenced by its grade, which is a measure of its physical condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. Coins with higher grades, such as MS 65 or MS 66, are worth significantly more than coins with lower grades. When determining the value of your 2000 penny, the type of error and its condition will be the key factors to consider. If you think you might have a valuable error coin, it's a good idea to get it appraised by a professional coin grader. These experts can help determine the authenticity of the error and give you an accurate assessment of the coin's value. There are several places where you can sell or auction your 2000 penny if it turns out to be a rare error. Local coin shops, online marketplaces, and even major auction houses specialize in selling valuable coins. You might want to consider having your coin graded by a professional service like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, as these organizations can authenticate your coin and assign it a grade, making it much easier to sell. But before you start digging through your coin jar looking for that million-dollar penny, it's important to remember that not all error coins are created equal. While a 2000 penny with a rare error could be worth thousands, most pennies from that year are still only worth 1 cent. The key is to know what to look for and how to spot the valuable coins amidst the rest of your collection. Coin collecting can be an exciting and rewarding hobby, especially when you discover a rare and valuable piece. The 2000 penny, with its array of possible errors and varieties, offers a fascinating glimpse into the world of numismatics. So, next time you come across a 2000 penny, take a closer look. You might just find a hidden treasure that could be worth much more than you think. Have you ever wondered if the spare change in your pocket could be worth more than face value? Believe it or not, certain coins hold incredible value, and among them, the 1994 US penny has a story that's nothing short of remarkable. This 1 cent coin, something millions of Americans handle every day without a second thought, could actually be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, even upwards of $1 million, if it possesses the right characteristics. Today, we're going to uncover what makes the 1994 penny so special and how you can determine if you're holding on to a fortune without even realizing it. The 1994 US penny was produced in massive quantities, as most modern pennies are. Composed of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating, the coin itself might seem rather mundane. However, what makes any coin stand out in the world of numismatics is the presence of errors or anomalies. These errors are essentially mistakes made during the minting process, and they can turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary treasure. To understand why these errors happen, it helps to know a little about how coins are minted. Coins begin as blank discs of metal called planchets. These planchets are fed into a press where engraved dies strike them with incredible force, imprinting the coin's design. When this process doesn't go as planned, errors can occur. Sometimes the dies might be misaligned, or the planchets might be defective. Other times, a malfunction in the machinery might result in doubled images, clipped edges, or incomplete designs. And while these flaws may sound insignificant, they can make a coin incredibly rare and highly valuable to collectors. For the 1994 penny, one of the most sought-after errors is the double die. A double die occurs when the die itself is accidentally struck twice during the engraving process, slightly offset. This creates a doubling effect on the coin's design elements, most commonly seen in the lettering or the date. On a 1994 penny, doubling might appear on the word Liberty, the phrase "In God We Trust," or the date itself. These doubled elements can be spotted with the naked eye in some cases, but a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe is often needed for closer inspection. Coins with prominent doubling are extremely valuable because they're rare and easily identifiable. Another type of error that can make the 1994 penny highly desirable is an off-center strike. This occurs when the planchet is not properly aligned with the dies during the minting process, resulting in a design that's noticeably shifted or incomplete. The degree of misalignment varies, but the more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. Imagine a penny with Lincoln's profile only partially visible, or with part of the design extending off the edge of the coin. These off-center strikes are visually striking and highly sought after by collectors. Then there are clipped planchets, where a coin appears to have a small piece missing, almost as if someone took a bite out of it. This happens when the metal sheets used to create planchets are punched too closely together, causing overlapping cuts. While these coins might look damaged, they're actually prized by collectors as long as the clip occurred during the minting process and not afterward. Die cracks and cuds are another fascinating category of errors. A die crack occurs when the die used to strike coins develops a crack, leaving raised lines on the coin's surface where metal flowed into the damaged area. Cuds, on the other hand, are blobs or raised areas on the coin where part of the die has broken away entirely. These features not only make a coin unique, but also offer insight into the minting process and the wear and tear on mint equipment. On a 1994 penny, a prominent die crack or cud could significantly boost its value. To make things even more intriguing, there have been instances where collectors stumbled upon rare error coins purely by chance. Take the story of a coin enthusiast who discovered a rare double-die penny in their pocket change. They initially overlooked the coin but later decided to examine it under a magnifying glass, only to find the unmistakable doubling on the lettering. That coin, which they could have easily spent at a convenience store, ended up fetching thousands of dollars at auction. These stories serve as a reminder that treasures can be hiding in plain sight. You just need to know what to look for. If you're eager to find your own 1994 penny with errors, there are a few tools and techniques that can make the process easier. First, invest in a good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. These tools allow you to closely examine the details of a coin, helping you spot errors that might not be visible to the naked eye. For even greater precision, consider using a digital microscope, which can capture detailed images of your coins for further inspection. Once you have your tools, start by examining your pocket change or coin jar. Pay close attention to the lettering, numbers, and edges of each coin. Look for signs of doubling, misalignment, cracks, or other anomalies. If you come across something unusual, compare it to images of known error coins online or consult a coin error guide. Reference materials can be invaluable for identifying specific types of errors and understanding their potential value. Of course, finding a valuable error coin is just the beginning. Preserving its condition is equally important. Coins with significant wear and tear lose value, so handle your finds with care. Avoid cleaning them, as this can damage the surface and diminish their worth. Instead, store them in coin flips, holders, or albums designed to protect them from scratches and environmental damage. Now, let's talk about the potential value of a 1994 penny with errors. While many error coins fetch modest sums, some have been known to sell for staggering amounts. The value depends on factors like rarity, demand, and condition. For example, a 1994 penny with a dramatic double die error might sell for several $1,000s, while a coin with an off-center strike or die crack could fetch hundreds or even thousands, depending on the severity and visibility of the error. And in extremely rare cases, a unique or particularly striking error could push the value into the six-figure range. One of the most exciting aspects of collecting error coins is the possibility of discovering something truly extraordinary. Imagine being the first to identify a previously unknown error on a 1994 penny. Not only would this make the coin incredibly valuable, but it would also cement your place in numismatic history. It's happened before. Collectors have made groundbreaking discoveries simply by examining their change with a keen eye and a bit of patience. So, where should you start your search for these valuable coins? Begin with the coins you already have. Check your pocket change, dig through your coin jar, or roll search at your local bank. Banks often have rolls of pennies that haven't been closely inspected, making them a potential goldmine for error coin hunters. You can also visit flea markets, garage sales, or estate sales, where coins are sometimes sold without much scrutiny. If you're lucky enough to find a 1994 penny with an error, the next step is to determine its value. Professional appraisal is highly recommended, especially for coins with significant or unusual errors. Coin dealers and numismatic experts can help you evaluate your find and provide insight into its rarity and market value. Once you have an appraisal, you can choose to keep the coin as part of your collection or sell it to a collector or through an auction. Online platforms like eBay or specialized auction houses are great places to connect with potential buyers, but always be cautious of scams and ensure you're dealing with reputable individuals or organizations. For those just starting their journey into coin collecting, the 1994 penny is a fantastic entry point. It's a modern coin that's still in circulation, making it accessible to everyone. And while not every penny will turn out to be a hidden treasure, the thrill of the hunt and the possibility of finding something valuable make it an exciting and rewarding hobby. Plus, collecting coins is a wonderful way to connect with history and learn more about the artistry and craftsmanship that go into minting currency. Before we wrap up, let's recap what makes the 1994 penny so special. The key lies in the errors: double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, and cuds. Each of these anomalies has the potential to turn a simple 1-cent coin into a collector's dream. By understanding how to identify these errors, investing in the right tools, and taking the time to inspect your coins, you're well on your way to uncovering hidden treasures. As you examine your coins, remember that every penny tells a story. Some are ordinary, while others carry the marks of rare and fascinating errors that make them unique. Who knows? The next 1994 penny you come across could be the one that changes your life. So keep searching, keep learning, and most importantly, keep your curiosity alive. The world of numismatics is full of surprises, and your next big discovery might be just around the corner.